Hello, I am so excited to be here today. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. Last week, I shared with you about health challenges and how they can affect your relationships in a marriage and other relationships you're having. But just a follow up question from that, ask yourself, is this actually a problem? Like in our marriage, is it actually a relationship problem? Or is this my health challenge manifesting itself by annoyance and irritability in this area, the area of your marriage? So if you missed that one, go listen to it. I love the analogy I share in it. I think it can be really helpful if you are having a health challenge and you are married and just navigating those two things together. For today, this is more of an awareness call, or I just wasn't sure how to put this because I'm not going to give you specific calls to action based on what I say and what you internalize. If I got to sit down with you and talk about these things together, I probably would come up with some actual calls to action like, hey, these are next steps. The topic that I chose is I is your health signaling that you're in a bad relationship? I know that sounds so general, right? But there are proven effects of bad relationships on your health. So this really screams the importance of having good relationships and also the importance of looking at your health and what is it trying to tell you at this time. Some of the effects of a bad relationship, I'm just going to share these with you, is well documented that there are physical ones and also psychological impacts that then affect your health. So, looking at the physical, increased stress and strain, increased cardiovascular reactivity, increased immune response, increased inflammation, and increased cortisol. Either because of the increased stress and strain or whatever's going on in this bad relationship, it severely weakens your immune system, or it can, by the increased inflammation. And in kind of just like disease terms, you're at higher risk for heart disease, higher risk of obesity and weight issues, and you're at a higher risk for high blood pressure and increased cortisol if you stay in a bad relationship. We'll talk a little bit more about, quote, bad relationship in a minute, but there's also psychological impacts that have been shown from looking at people that stay in bad relationships for a time. It's damaging, it's harmful for your mind to stay in a bad relationship. Some of these psychological impacts, and certainly this isn't a complete list, um, but anxiety, depression, and or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, mood swings, social isolation, which can then lead to more loneliness, and loneliness can lead to more health problems. I'm personally in a really good marriage, and the ups and downs that we experience are usually event based or emotionally based on a health challenge, if that makes sense. We are in the military. My husband is active duty military. In his career, we move every 2 years. That alone creates stress in that time period of moving, the before the move, the during the move, and the after move. We go through just a lot of stress. And it's good for us to know that that is impacting how we feel about each other and how much we feel appreciated during that time. It's good to recognize that you may be in a great relationship just going through something difficult. Another thing I've really noticed that affects relationships are work deadlines, whether they're self imposed or whether they are from the outside in. We have an inspection coming up, and you or your spouse may be having a hard time handling just all the logistics of that thing and recognizing, oh, this is what's going on. We do love each other. We're really good to each other, but we're also very tired and we are doing a lot more mentally than we normally would do. So factor that into how much we feel good in this relationship. I like to look at a good relationship versus a bad relationship in terms of how, do you feel okay? So, good relationship, you feel loved, appreciated, and respected most of the time. In a bad relationship, just in very simple terms, you don't feel that way. You feel unwanted, disliked, rejected. You feel that way most of the time. And maybe you can even point to some abuse, physical, emotional, verbal, or sexual. Those are bad relationships. So you're going to assess if it's good or bad. You need to also recognize your perceptions affect your beliefs about your relationship. Because I have premenstrual dysphoric disorder, I know to check my beliefs about my marriage and about my relationships with my children and my friends and family, all of it, based on where I am in my menstrual cycle. That is not something someone else can do for you. They can't get in your head and say, oh, you have on your PMDD glasses right now. I mean, I guess depending on who you're talking to, right? If you're one of my clients, I can I can dig into that a little bit. But just listening to this podcast, I can't say you're putting on the newlywed glasses where everything was great because your love was very heightened and very new. Or you're putting on your victim glasses. You're feeling like a victim right now. And because of that, you're seeing all of these bad things and they're blown out of proportion. You get to look at your perceptions and decide, is this a perception thing that I'm seeing our marriage is bad? Or is this an actual bad relationship? Something that can really help with this is looking at their actions, the other person's actions, and putting their actions kind of in a different setting. Is it okay in a different setting? If they hit you, all right, if we're at the grocery store and he does this exact same thing, he hits you, let's say it's that, is that okay? No, no, it's not. No physical hitting, pulling, pushing, um, none of that is okay. Another thing, again, looking at their actions, are they repeating them? Is it again and again and again? So, lying, are they lying and is it happening over and over? Is it happening in more than one area? You see it because you're his wife, but is it also something that you're concerned because it's going on at work or you think it might be going on at work? And then what are their actions creating? Are the words that they're saying creating more connection or less? What people say is a form of action. Text messages are an action. Are they hugging you? Are they holding you? Does it feel safe? And if it doesn't, is that just because of where you are emotionally? You're just kind of feeling like, I just want to be alone right now. Or is it actually really invasive? you get to decide. We don't have to stay in relationships that don't feel good, but we also don't need to end a relationship that is good, but is just going through a hard time. I guess I feel a little bit called to talk about this because I have seen people end relationships based on really good reasons. And it's hard, but there were really compelling reasons to not stay in this relationship. And then I have judged, and I'm going to put it that way, I have judged that people have ended relationships on what I don't consider compelling reasons to. They still get to, but they move on and their life still isn't what they think it was going to be, or they've put a lot of their emotional well-being based on this person and how this person has treated them. They move on and they still find that they're not getting what they want emotionally. That usually is just from they haven't learned to take care of themselves emotionally. They're in what I talk about as emotional childhood instead of moving to emotional adulthood, where you are the one in charge of your feelings and your emotions. There are ways to get there. You don't have to keep ending relationships. You can, like, that's what's considered changing the circumstance instead of looking at your thoughts and your feelings and the actions you take from it and looking at how those are affecting your results, not just the circumstance you're in. Let me just check my notes to see if I missed anything on this. If you come to the conclusion that it is a bad relationship and that your health is maybe signaling to you, this is not good, we need to move on, we need to get some help, we need to go in a different direction, then I encourage you to do that. There's so many ways to do that. So I don't really want to tell you this is what you do next. Just ponder and look for opportunities. Maybe someone says something and you're like, ooh, that sounds intriguing. Can you tell me more about that? How did that person help you? Or how did you get to this point in your life? Just being open to receive can be really cool when you are facing like well, I know I need to do this thing, but I don't know how to. God can send you what you need in the time that you need it. Be open to receive that. For a lot of women, the financial side of ending a relationship can be difficult. The fear keeps us there and stuck, but ponder. Maybe the answer is to actually just talk to your spouse. If you're experiencing like physical abuse, that's might not be the best approach. But in some of these other things, you can talk to them and you can say, hey, this is really bothering me. Are you open to addressing that? Let's say it's chronic lying. It's causing me a lot of anxiety. Can you address that? I feel like it's affecting my trust in you and how I live my life and also my health. So that might be an option for you. There are hotlines too. Don't feel like you need to suffer in silence. And from looking at, is this a good relationship? Is my health signaling that this is a bad relationship? And if it comes down to yes, then you get to decide how to approach it and what your next steps are. In this part, look at your health, look at your well being. You get to feel loved and safe and appreciated and respected most of the time. And that's where we want to go to. That's my hope and my desire and my prayer for you is to get to that place. You can work on some communication. Maybe you haven't approached it from that direction. And this person really does love you. They just are stuck in some bad patterns and habits. If you don't feel like you're experiencing abuse, you just feel like they're not prioritizing you in your marriage, you can open that up and maybe a change will happen. Maybe your marriage will become so much better and you can both really recommit to that. I have such a strong belief that having a marriage founded in love and kindness is just so wonderful. It doesn't mean that you don't have struggles. It doesn't mean that there's not miscommunication. You will be human, they will be human. But when we come to these situations with kindness and with openness and with this, I love this person so much. How can we work through this? Or I really want to bring this up, but I also want them to know that I love them. It works out so much better. I can say that from experience. My husband and I aren't any different in terms of being human and sometimes losing our temper, sometimes reacting emotionally, but we are understanding of one another and we have respect for each other. We let each other be human, and we come back to that place of love, that place of dedication to our marriage. Okay. Hope you're having a great springtime. We got to the spring and we'll talk to you next week.